Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the AQ Circus podcast. I am your host Smlz. I am joined by Denish, a Hela One Trick, and Xenaid, a Sauron One Trick, and that's appropriately named today because we are going to be covering the One Trick Invitational. We are going to be revealing all of the players' decks. The One Trick Invitational happens across July 19th, which is tomorrow as of recording, and the 20th, which is the Sunday. We're going to do a deep dive into all the players' decks and sort of give you a nice little preview of what the tournament's going to be. You might ask, how do I watch the tournament? Well, the answer is simple. You're going to watch it on Twitch. We have 4 Twitch streamers that we are going to have the games be streamed to. We have Husky Puppies 35, Roran Plays, Cougar, and Perry Manilow. They're going to be streaming on Saturday. All 4 of them are going to be streaming our double elimination bracket challenge, where we're going to have all 8 One Tricks participate in a bracket challenge and see who can become the ultimate One Trick and win a cash prize. On Sunday, we're going to have Husky, Roram, and Cougar commentate money matches, which are going to be 1v1 conquest games amongst the One Tricks, and they are going to win a cash prize for every game they win. We are very excited to bring to you this event. And now let's get on to the deck reveals. The first deck that we are going to be covering is Denish's deck. Denish is running Hela, and I'll let him take it away explaining his 2 decks.
Yeah, so the deck on the left, the Supergiant Hela list, is the one that I've been playing on ladder for a couple months now. I think the Supergiant is just a really good tech in a Hela deck. It lets you open up a lot of really consistent lines. It techs against a lot of things that you struggle with. It makes your gambits a lot more consistent. That deck on the left has been tried and true, and I just enjoy it a lot. I think it does really well. The deck on the right, though, this is one that I've created in the past 2 days. What I've done here is I found, okay, I'm getting outpowered. I need to get more power in my deck. So what I did is I cut Odin, so that way I can add a third 6-drop, which you might think having 3 6-drops is trippy, because Hela can only revive one of them, and so how are you getting the 3 of them onto the board? But what you can do is we added a Grandmaster in place of Odin because the Grandmaster is doing the same thing. And what the Grandmaster is letting us do is it lets us retrigger our blink, which if you Grandmaster a blink, it's going to move the blink into the middle and then blink a card or possibly herself. You can Grandmaster Jubilees, which is good because your deck is so heavy that you're probably going to pull something good. Or if you have a heavy hand, that means you're going to pull a small card, which are all discarders, which is also good. You've got a Ghost Rider in here to get one of your 6s out of your discard pile if you need to. And the 6 that I settled on was Hulkling. The Hulkling slot is the slot that I think is the most flexible in the list. Obviously, Gore can be Giganto, but I think Gore is fine in the format because the other One Tricks I am playing against aren't really tech based as much, as in they're not going to run an Enchantress. The biggest thing I can see them running is like maybe some sneaky Rogue, but I don't know why you'd want to run Rogue right now. The other decks don't really care. I guess Tribunal a little bit, but even then it's like, do you really want to run Rogue for a matchup and a half? I just decided to run both Gores. He'll probably be around 11 to 9 to 13 power on his low rolls. But this deck on the right, I am excited to try out at a higher level because on ladder it's been kind of goofy. I'm curious what you guys think about the different style of Hela deck on the right here.
I think the style on the right is interesting. I mean, I've played the style of the deck on the left with the 4 6s, one of them being Odin, a lot. I definitely think the right build is very interesting. I'm disappointed that you told me you were going to bring Infinity Ultron, but you ended up not bringing him. But I do think that the Hela on the right is definitely a more unique deck and something that other players might struggle to play around a little bit. So I think it's definitely cool. I really like the Grandmaster in here. I think he's very much surprise value and makes your lines a lot tougher to read. Thinking, oh, is he going to Grandmaster? Is he going to Jubilee Grandmaster? Is he going to Blink Grandmaster? What's he going to do with that? I think it's a very interesting take on Hela and something that other players might struggle to play around while they're pretty familiar with the Suji Hela list.
Yeah, the Grandmaster is great. It's doing what Odin does, except it's only 2 energy. Obviously, you can't do the stupid lines like Gambit and then retrigger the Blink and then retrigger the Hela. But you can get one proc off of cards, so even double Gambit really early can be devastating for some decks. And he fits curve really well, actually, because if you have 7 energy, you can play Blink Grandmaster. If you have 6 energy, so that's a turn 5 or a turn 6, you can play one of your 2/4s with Grandmaster. If it's turn 5 and you're low rolling, you can just go crazy and discard 4 cards and get +2 energy with Corvus Grandmaster or Gambit Grandmaster. There's a lot of really cool things Grandmaster enables. You mentioned IU as well to touch on it. That was going to be the Hulkling slot. I found it was more important to consistently have the Blink getting Grandmastered turn into a 6 drop, and having 3 6 drops just wasn't doing it. That was the issue there.
Yeah, I like the list on the right a lot. The only problem I see it running into is that we all know each other's archetypes going into this tournament, right? And I was assessing which tech cards would be the most effective, essentially. And I do believe Cosmo with priority beats a lot of the field. And when you're playing the GM deck, your play lines, your locations are a lot more telegraphed if the opponent's thinking about it.
Yeah.
But the other downside is like we play against you a lot on ladder, so most of us aren't as used to playing against the big Hela lines.
Yeah, if I see the opponent has a Cosmo, because this is open deck list, I'm just not going to run the Grandmaster version, because I'm going to get Cosmoed so hard. You get Jug Cosmode, your Grandmaster lands in the middle, it doesn't do anything. You get like your Gambit pushed into a Cosmo lane, it doesn't do anything. You Cosmo to Jubilee, and then you only have sixes, you can't really curve out. I'm absolutely not running Big Hella with Grandmaster in any situation where they might be running Cosmo. For context, anyone who doesn't know, the format of the tournament is we submit 2 lists. They need to share 9 cards or less. I mean, or more. And when you start a match, you don't actually need to tell your opponent which one you're playing. You just need to play one of the two. And you can see their 2 options, but you don't know which one they're running. So if they have Cosmo in either of their 2 options, I'm going to just assume because I'm playing Hela, they're running Cosmo, and I'm not going to play the list on the right.
Very good insight there. So, a little bit of a bracket preview here. I believe Denish is going to be playing against a Cosmo deck in the first round of the tournament. What are your thoughts on that, especially because it's against Move?
Yeah, I was excited to play against Sizer until I saw he wasn't on move bounce, and now I'm a little bit nervous. I really enjoy playing against a move bounce, so I thought playing against Sizer's version was going to be a lot of fun, especially seeing how he can deal with a supergiant. But now I'm very concerned because most of my tournament losses, like in my entire career, are against move. So we'll either see an early losers bracket or we'll see some interesting. I will see. We'll see how it goes. The Cosmo is very, very scary, and the fact that it's in move is even scarier because it forces 50-50s where Sizer knows what's happening, but I don't, which is kind of like the opposite of what my entire deck's purpose is. So what ends up happening is I'll take a 50-50 and I'll say, okay, I know it's a 50-50, I can bluff snap, but I don't have those opportunities anymore because every single play is a 50-50. So now the odds are cut down to a quarter, and it's just significantly less likely for me to get my wins.
Yeah, I'm really not excited to play into that move deck once we get there because I thought it was move bounce too, so I was gonna run Jug to mess up some of their lines. But I think my tech is also useless against move regular. I think most tech is useless against regular move.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like it's just gonna feel like to me who draws better. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, we'll touch
So
on that in a bit.
Alrighty, so that's our first deck, Hella. Our next deck is Bounce. So this is from Doc Guapo. He's running his GM Sasquatch brand of Bounce. Two very different builds here. One of them looking as a traditional bounce build with Sage and Frigate, and the other one having Werewolf and Beta Ray Bill, which I did not expect to see in this tournament. What are we thinking about these two decks?
I think
I love.
that Yeah, so the Beta Ray Bill version, I feel like his intention is to go really, really tall, and that helps him deal with like the Hela, the Tribunal. I think it's interesting the route he went, because when you have to build two decks, you almost want them to cover each other's weaknesses. And this feels like he's going with a consistency with his non-Beta Ray Bill list and a high roll potential with his Beta Ray Bill list, and I'm curious if that's what he would say as well. I'd love to hear what you think, Xenaid.
I mean, you like look at the notable differences. The first list is running, I believe, Eitri and Hawkeye, right? That's the difference. The second list is the BRB. He's bounced Beta Ray Bill against me before, and it really sucks because you can't predict where that 24 power is going to go in that last turn as easily. Doc's very good at throwing Prio. We have an interesting mix of decks that want Prio and decks that don't want Prio in this tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how like the players play around like, hey, I know they're gonna throw Prio. What am I gonna do against it? Because I know there's an Alliance in the tournament. I know there's some Cosmos. I know there's some Juggernauts. There's actually very few reactive tech because I think we just all know like the players we're playing against know how to drop Prio properly. So like, I'm not running Shang-Chi against like Doc, for example, because he's never gonna let me do that.
I do think as a spectator, watching how priority is managed by these players is going to be really fun and interesting. If you wanna, that's probably the biggest thing you could learn from this tournament if you're coming in as a spectator. Pay attention to what people are doing to manage their priority. If you see someone make a little bit of a weird play, think about why they're doing it. It's probably to like flip prio. It and then think about like the consequences of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bounce is really really good at throwing prio, and also like his Beta Ray build list doesn't even care about Eliath a lot of the time. Like
Yeah,
you can
and
just deal with it.
yeah, the other thing with his Doc, especially, is Doc's a very good bounce player. So like, it'll be very interesting for you guys to watch like what he snaps on. Like he runs GM, and when he's able to get those like double beast games, for example, he's really good. Also like playing around Juggernaut, playing around Cosmo. It's way different than ladder, right? Because when we play against each other on ladder, I'm like the least one trick of most of us. Like I'm slotting in Cosmo, I'm slotting in random cards. But now that we're playing like honest games against each other, where we know each other's decks, it's gonna be really interesting to see like, hey, what are we playing around, right? Way different than the ladder experience.
I also think the Frigga in the list with Hawkeye and Sage is also interesting. I'm curious what the benefit like I think he has an opinion on which list is better because I've seen him play the Sage Frigga list a lot. I'm just curious why he wants Beta Ray Bill. Like, it is scary, but what is it doing that Frigga Sage isn't? What do you think?
On, honestly, I just think he likes the card. Like he's said it before outright. He just really likes Bill. It's one of his favorite cards. So like GM Bill, like he just gets a chance to do cool stuff. It does go taller, right? I think it's also stronger against the Cosmo players. The BRB line is way stronger against the Cosmo players than the Sage line is. And I think like for example, the Billy Bounce deck is way better into Surfer than the standard bounce.
Yeah, so I play Doc a lot on ladder, and the main thing that I would differentiate from his two decks is the first deck, the traditional bounce deck with Frigga, is a very consistent bounce deck. Like you're always like it's got a floor and it's gonna be like and it's a high floor, it's got a low ceiling, and it's gonna be staying around there. The Beta Ray build deck is if you need to go really tall or if you need to be a little bit more resistant to tech, that's the list you go to. It's a lot more variable on its power rolls. Like sometimes he will just completely brick on that list. But in general, I think that the it's more of a variance list. So if he thinks he's going to need more variance to win his matchup, he'll go with the Beta Ray Bill. And if he thinks he's good on his normal points, I think he'll go with the traditional bounce deck. Anyways, I think it's time we get to our third deck that we're going to be seeing today, and it is everybody's favorite Silver Surfer, which I know we complained about a lot on the last episode of the 8 Cube Circus. This is Heart of the Cards lists. What do we think? A lot of two new cards in here with both Mr. Fantastic There are three new cards: Mr. Fantastic and Human Torch and Herbie in one of the list. What are we thinking about Surfer in this tournament?
I know. Don't we know which list he's playing against us? For both of us, he's playing the right list.
Yeah.
Like, yep.
Heart of the Cards loves Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
No, I mean, like he's like U.S. agent, U.S. agent.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, the annoying thing is just like he has the face of the meta deck, and it's hard to tech for just Surfer. In this tournament, like against the range of things, Surfer's just generally pretty good. He has to play Negasonic and US Agent into Sauron, because otherwise he just gets blown out. Honestly though, like he's not running Jug in both lists, which makes me very happy, because you're looking at the overlap. If you see US Agent out, that means you know he doesn't have Juggernaut. And knowing he doesn't have Juggernaut is actually super insane.
Yeah, he's gonna have to choose between the Juggernaut and the Negasonic, which I think is an interesting deck building decision. I wonder if there was a different replacement he could have made. Because Jug Cosmo
Yeah, but he
in a
only
Surfer
used
list.
he only used two of the flex slots, right? Because it's I can't find the third card that's different. It's just US Agent, Nega on the right, and Herbie Jug on the left.
Yep. It's identical except those two cards.
Yeah, I think there might have been a better. I was scared of Mobius. Like, I was very scared of Mobius because, like, I'm not gonna tell you which one I'm gonna play against Hart, but I have two lists, and one list was specifically like against Mobius in case Hart decided to run it. But since he's not running Mobius, it looks like I'm free to play a zero power, zero cost Scar. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. I also was talking to Heart of the Cards yesterday, and he was actually saying he does not like Surfer right now into the current ladder meta, which I think is interesting because like I don't like Hela necessarily too much into the ladder meta either. And so a lot of the people in this tournament can't practice on ladder. So this
Yeah,
is kind of like it's I don't think these people will be rusty, but round 1 I think it's very possible we see a couple misplays cuz a lot of people are having a lot of trouble practicing their lists cuz like this
yeah.
deck
I
has
mean,
the
like
tech
we were
slots
talking
so
the other
hard.
day too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking the other day, and it was like we don't like. I don't like playing Sauron on ladder that much right now.
Mhm.
Like I haven't really been practicing Sauron on ladder, and we'll talk about it when I get there. But also I haven't really been playing against Surfer on ladder that much. I've been playing much more to like C2, and then just like not actually pure Surfer players. They're just playing like the Fastos Gwenpool fantastic package with tech, which is so annoying.
I think this deck looks really, really good, to be honest. It also, I believe, is one of the only decks that's running fantastic first steps. I think there's two or three, but he also gets a lot of value out of it, to be honest. I mean, look at what it's doing. You're getting
Yeah, I
your
mean, it has so
Buster,
many targets.
yeah, Carter, Brood, Torch, Prodigy. Prodigy's really interesting as well. I think this list is gonna do very, very well. I just, I am just gonna be curious if basically if Heart is in it, because he's not happy right now with Surfer.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe I believe all of us have been playing Tribunal a lot more
Hmm.
than our
Yeah.
actual decks on ladder, but we can
hey,
see when we get there.
I've been a Tribunal believer for a while, and we'll get to that when it comes. I'll touch a lot on Tribunal when we get there. But I
No,
think
we'll touch a lot of
but I
Tribunal. You wait till you
talking,
hear it, Smlz.
Oh,
I
we
was
love
talking to
Tribunal
Hart
now.
the other day. Yeah, I was talking to Hart the other day, and he doesn't like Surfer on ladder because everybody's teching for it, is what he told me. It was
Hmm.
just there's
Which I
so
don't get, because I was thinking about this tech for Surfer, and the tech for Surfer is like drop Prio, play Shadow King, but Surfer is a Cosmo
Affliction,
Jug deck, so like I
Affliction
don't
too.
understand what the tech for Surfer actually is, because there's no direct targeting Surfer unless they're playing Sandman Mobius.
Yeah, he's got like, he was complaining about Affliction a little bit, like
yeah.
Man Thing.
I
Oh,
have
we got
seen a
no Affliction players here.
I
Yeah.
have seen Affliction taken up tech, but no Affliction here, so Hart should be happy. I
Yep.
definitely think that Surfer's a very well positioned deck into this. I am also confused on only why one of the lists runs Juggernaut. That's a very interesting deck building choice. Him only using two of his flex slots as well. I know I was talking to him while he was working on some of the decks. I had a very small part in building the first deck with him, and I think that he has settled on Fastos being good, and I agree. I think that's a very powerful thing. I think this deck also utilizes information asymmetry probably better than any other deck in the format, using cards like Mr. Fantastic First Steps, Fastos, Gwenpool, Prodigy. Does he get a Prodigy, a Surfer? Does he get a Prodigy, a Torch, a Carter? Does he get a Prodigy, a Juggernaut? That's something I do, and I think it's a really fun. There's a lot of different targets for Prodigy to hit in the decks, and I think it's going to make it very hard to play around. This is honestly probably my pick to win. I think Surfer is extremely well positioned. It can go tall when it needs to. It can go wide when it needs to, and it can play tech when it needs to. I think this is a great option. I think Surfer's a really good deck. I think it's being slightly over teched for right now on ladder. I agree with Hart that it might not be the best on ladder, but I do think it's probably the best deck right now, and that's why this is honestly my pick to win it.
I
Going
I I think the Negasonic feels wrong. Like I'm gonna be honest, the last time Negasonic was good, it was because of Sam Shield being a one cost and Makari, which neither of his things run, and he's not gonna get prio against half the field because his deck doesn't have a one drop. Most of the other decks like are playing cards out early,
Yeah.
and then like yeah, I don't see how Negasonic's gonna get that much value when we know it's in his deck, right?
I
There's
think
also
Negasonic is more for the combo stuff. I know he mentioned to me that Tribunal was a matchup that he was very worried about.
hmm Yeah, this deck on the right looks like it's Tribunal killing. That might be what he designed it around. I do think it's interesting the Negasonic with no Fenris and the U.S. Agent with no Gladiator. Like, these are cards that he usually runs, but they don't have the main thing that ties them together. And so, I think it's good. The list on the right is good into, like, Hela, Tribunal, and kind of Sauron. And, like, that's about it. So I think we'll see a lot of the list on the left from Kyle, which is the Juggernaut list.
I think he's probably gonna run the Juggernaut version into me as well, just because with the discounting and the like I'd be surprised if he runs Negasonic into me when I could just like put in like a Zabu or a Zero in that lane, and he can't get priority against me very well.
Anyways, on to the next list, which is Move. So this is, I think, one of the most interesting deck choices. Sizer only changed one card. The only card he changed was a Ghost Spider for an Echo in one of the lists. So the other 11 cards are Human Torch, Madam Web, Dagger, Craven, Cloak, Cosmo, Vulture, Topaz, Hellion, Alliant, and Heimdall. Those two are the same. He's not on move bounce. He is only on regular move. And one of the lists has Echo, which I think is specifically for Living Tribunal. And the other list has Ghost Spider. What are we thinking?
I think this is hilarious. This is showing. So what Sizer was trying to do is initially, I talked to him about it a little bit. I believe he was trying to get a move bounce list and a Heimdall move list, but he couldn't get with less than 4 tech slots. He got it so that he had 4 slots that he could slot out, but he couldn't quite get it to 3. And so it seems like the route he went was, okay, well, my worst matchup is Tribunal. I beat Tribunal now. Which I think is very interesting, especially with the Alliance. You kind of beat Tribunal anyways. Echo feels like it's beating Tribunal and Gore, and that's about it. I mean, it hits Carter. I'm trying to think, I guess Black Knight, but he doesn't have a Shang.
I
So it's
hope
like,
he plays Echo into me, please, please. It's not gonna happen, but a
He's
man
gonna
can
pick the
dream.
wrong deck.
Maybe he misclicks the wrong list.
yeah, that would be interesting if he ran Echo into you. I think it is specifically for Tribunal, which says a lot about how people feel about Tribunal right now in this. That's a fear factor.
Yeah, I think we've seen now two players that have taken their one of their two lists and they've specifically tailored it against the Tribunal matchup. We've already touched on Tribunal seeing an uptick in play rate. I think the deck is good. We'll see how people react to it, but I think this is one of the most interesting stories within this deck building process is how scared the general field is of that Tribunal list and how really I don't think I could say it, but it's really warping the format, I think.
Another thing to consider, I'm not sure if Sizer realizes, Echo doesn't really counter Tribunal. A lot of the
Yeah,
time you're
you're
blinking into
blinking.
cards, jubileeing into cards. You're not really playing the Iron Man. You're playing Tribunal in a lane that isn't the Onslaught lane. Like, you can't really snipe with Echo very easily. I think he would get a lot more value out of that Eliath than he will that Echo. And I'm curious to
I
see if he
mean,
ever uses the Echo list.
also, we'll get to the Tribunal list in a sec, but the Echo is kind of good because let's say you cheat out specifically the interaction with Onslaught and Iron Man. If you cheat out one of those two, like they kind of have to be on the same lane, so that way the Tribunal gets enough power to spread. Otherwise, when an Onslaught Iron Man isn't being duplicated, then the deck doesn't go as tall. But we'll have to see. We'll comment on more on that when we get to the Tribunal list.
Yeah, another thing to look at here, he's not running any one-cost move enablers in the Echo deck, and he's only running Ghost Spider. There's no Iron Fist, there's no Aranya, and so we're seeing almost... It's a very different kind of move. This is not something I'm familiar with playing against very much, and I think a lot of people will have that same experience, especially NA players, which I think is basically everyone else. Um, and the
Oh,
Helion
I
as well.
Hands of Stone was a big move player, and Butt playing move at the start of this season. It's so annoying, man. They just have
Hmm.
so many points, and they know more where the points are gonna go than you are. So like, it's like at the end of the day, it's like what you said. It's like a 50-50 that they know what's going on and you don't, and it's just like I just click end turn and hope I win that 50-50. I don't try to think too much against these decks.
Yeah, this is a deck where you'll want to pay attention to the opponent's early placement if you want to learn the matchup, because that Heimdall is very scary if you don't play around it from turn 1. That's something you have to keep in mind the entire time. And Helion makes it even crazier, but if they want to play Heimdall, they can only have 10 power right usually. So that's something to keep in mind.
But the problem is, it's really easy to juke out, especially because like Helion is not the ideal turn five. The ideal turn five is Cloak plus 3 drop,
Hmm.
a lot of the time, because then you can threaten a lot more on turn 6. So there's a lot of play lines you'll have to consider, but they just put out so much power. I do like to mention that there's not that much one cost enablers, which means that if he's not getting Topaz out on the right lane, or if the locations are unfavorable for Topaz to be played, like I know like Kyle might be able to Negasonic the Topaz lane,
Hmm.
and then like it might just be over for Sizer because
There's
if he
a
can't get Topaz off,
For sure. There's a lot of small things like that that I think will handle this list interestingly. One thing could be like a gambit. I feel like every single thing on my screen is gambitable.
yeah, you
Like,
Gambit Madam Web, I think he might just be dead.
yeah, like a lot of these cards, even if I hit not the enabler, but the actual move card, I've destroyed a third of his power on like the third turn. And
Yeah, they
also
do rely a lot on setup.
I don't know if I'll run the Grandmaster for this because I don't really want to get Eliath in Cos mode. But Supergiant as well. He can't really flip a Cloak or a Helion on turn 5. I think this could be tricky into a lot of matchups. Surfer, Hela, but it's still scary because like Vulture is really big.
Yeah, there's I mean, we'll get to my list, but I run Shadow King specifically for the move matchup.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the other decks people are scared of, but it's not played a lot because it's very
My
hard.
head just hurts so much, man. Like I already have a headache looking at this list.
Yeah, and
Yep.
it's really hard to play against, and I think we're gonna see the most misplays against this deck from other players as opposed to the other decks. I think this deck is yeah. There's
I don't even think it's a
probably
misplay. Like I think Sizer's just gonna outplay half the field,
Yep.
especially if like
yeah.
their field's not feeling good. Like if someone doesn't get enough sleep or something, like it's like a 50-50 between Heimdall or not. But at least he's not running Hulkling, dude. If he was running Hulkling instead of Eliath, I'd be so pissed. Like,
Mhm. Imagine running Hulkling in a tournament list. I can't.
Crazy. Anyways, let's get on to our next list, which is going to be the Boogeyman Living Tribunal. So I'll start on this. I've been playing a little bit of Tribunal consistently ever since Prodigy came out. Funnily enough, neither of these lists have Prodigy, but I think that the deck is in a very well positioned place. It's gotten more ramp options early, which it really likes. I think the deck is definitely pretty good, and I think it puts up it obviously puts up the most points pretty much in the entire game. Nothing can beat a good Tribunal roll, except some crazy like Wong Black Panther stuff. I think that Tribunal is very much even maybe a little bit overtech against in the field because people are so scared of it, especially in the bracket rounds. But I do think that this deck is good, and this deck will catch a couple people by surprise. What do you guys think?
I think it's my like I don't want to play against this deck. Like he has Cosmo in the first one. One of my list shows Enchantress. So like if he draws well, there's almost nothing I can do. But I think Denish versus Hela Enjoyer would be a really fun matchup to watch because legioning his stuff, ooh, even just gammeting one of his things, oh, that
Hey,
I feel like I could watch Hela into Tribunal all day long.
um, I don't wanna I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but have you seen the bracket, Xenaid?
I've seen the bracket. I'm playing this deck first. I'm starting losers. I know. Oh,
This is a tough one, yeah. The I want to hear one of you guys because I haven't touched Tribunal as much as you guys have. What is he doing with the deck building here? What is the benefit to the deck on the left versus the deck on the right?
So the deck on the left is a hyper is basically I need to get the combo out and I need to get it out now. So what it's trying to do is it's trying to make the blink as good as possible into Iron Man Onslaught Tribunal. The Jubilee in there is a bit odd. I personally don't like Jubilee in my Tribunal list, but I can definitely see it being correct. I think that he's really looking for consistency in the first list. He's going to get the combo. He might even get the Cosmo out. I think he's just going for I am going to get at least 28 power in every single lane 90% of games. The second list is the high roll list. The second list has Sarah Onslaught. It's got Gore in it. That one's if he really needs to go tall. Maybe against something like a move, that list is better. Being able to sort of I know I've had it happen to me where somebody jukes an onslaught by mistaking it in a different lane and then playing the stuff in the other lane to dodge like an Goliath or something like that. I think that the second list is definitely a more fun list and one that I really want to watch play out. But I do think he's going to result to the first list a lot of the time, just on the fact that a lot of the decks in the field, just 28 in every lane is a very hard ask. And he can go even taller than that with a Mystique or also adding like a Luna Snow to the Tribunal lane or a Blink to the Tribunal lane. I think that the first deck is the one we're going to see more, but oh boy, do I want to see that second one.
I mean, so like as I've been playing Tribunal, I've been so worried that people are going to be able to play 28 in two lanes, but I just realized that I'm the deck that plays 28 in two lanes. Like I play the big cards. So there's few interactions I'm scared of. I'm really not scared of the Gore deck cuz like Sauron, Gore, whatever, man. Like if I get Scar Goliath out, Magic giving me an extra turn, I will get enough power to win. Um, as long as I hit one of my tech cards. Um, but I think it's more on like do you know when to snap? Are you able to like not lose the 8 cubes to the Tribunal deck, right? Like you'll see a lot of snap interaction, a lot of retreating around locations, everything. There will be some things that are up to variance. What I do like the Jubilee a lot. It just makes your thing a lot more consistent. I'm happy there's no Esme in either one of these lists because I know you run Esme, Smlz, but bro, Esme's too hard to play around. Like it's just too hard to play around.
And -2, I can't stand that card. It's so obnoxious.
Yeah, so I
Cause
mean,
like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant. If you're running Esme, you're getting value so infrequently that the games that I lose to it, I'm so mad. If I lose to 3-4 Gore, I'm so mad. I'm not happy.
but
It,
the
it
thing is, like, it might be good at invitational setup because it's literally an 8 cube farmer. Like,
Yep. Conquest especially. That
yeah,
kind of
like, what are you gonna
format.
do about it? But like, since his power is a lot more face up, it'll be easier. I might be like Smlz and bring out a notepad and paper and do some math. Now that I've been playing it, the math's become a lot easier. Um, yeah, I mean, you know, if I lose the first game, you'll see me give up, and I might just do a little bit of trolling. I don't know which list I'll bring yet against this one, but I kind of have an idea.
Yeah, I think the no Esme in the first list is incredibly interesting because I know what's it called? I know one of his lists I've been playing because I made a Tribunal list before he came back to the game, and it had Ravona, Iron Man, Blink, Onslaught, Tribunal, and every other card cost 3. That deck was decent. It was all right, but it wasn't like optimized. And then we got all the 2 cost ramp options like Fantastic. We got Kale, Surge. We released like a week before. We got a lot more 2 cost ramp options, and we were able to cut down on the 3s and just run more 2s that ramp. And I think that deck felt really good. It's interesting to see him go with the Jubilee here. And I also think it's very interesting that he's running Prodigy in neither list. Prodigy's honestly felt better to me than Mystique in both Tribunal lists, but I'm not the one trick. I'm not the expert. I just play the list because I have fun playing it. So we will see how Tribunal fares. I think this is definitely the deck that people are the most scared of based on all their deck building choices.
I think another thing to
Yeah.
think about is he's running Magic in both lists. Magic only dies to, I believe, me and Guapo, and so he does get the guaranteed turn 7. But also, if you look at the decks he's playing against, it's a lot of decks that also benefit from turn 7. Obviously, not to the extent that he does, but running it in both, I think he's running it because he said it's one of his favorite cards, and that's why. But not having a Magic list is also a really interesting decision. Because if you die
I,
to Limbo getting turned off in your list, I mean, now you're just running a 3-2 that you can't even play.
I mean, I have 0 cost Scar every game. I'm not complaining, man.
Hmm.
Like, I have Polepower I can put anywhere. Like, and then like we're both running fantastically. The first steps runners are gonna be very happy with But the other thing is like it makes like the Alliath lists have to think a little harder about when to Alliath. There's a lot of interaction that'll go on in there, like the Sizer Alliath list, my Alliath list. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Anyways, on to our next competitor. It's our very own bad deck enjoyer who's playing good decks for a change. It's Xenaid. He has Sauron V1 and Sauron V2. One of the lists has a Shadow King Juggernaut. The other list is more greedy, running Ares, Eliath, Scar. So it looks like you're running points versus tech Sauron.
Yeah, I mean, I was just scared of freaking Mobius. Like, I'm gonna be so honest. Like, one deck dies to Mobius, one deck kind of dies to Mobius, and so I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't want to auto lose any of the matchups. So, I mean, if whoever is watching, I'm playing the first deck. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. The second deck is just there to scare people. Um,
Oh, thank
but who
God.
knows? Like, maybe I'll have a Juggernaut. Maybe I'll play Shadow King. I'm not playing Shadow King into Denish. Like, like, like. It's just the flex slots in the list are Ares, Scar, and one of the fours pretty much. And so like Jug is important. I thought Jug was gonna be important against move bounce, but move bounce turned into regular move, and Jug is completely useless. But I do like running Jug over Alliath in certain matchups, especially when like Alliath is coming. But hopefully in most games I can just outpower people without even having to play turn 6 out, and I'll bully snap and all that because like you won't see my tech cards until turn 6. Like ideally you don't see my tech cards until it's too late.
Yeah, I'm looking at your right list, and you have, I believe, the only Enchantress in the whole tournament, which you also queued into Tribunal first round.
Yeah, I
So
mean
you're forcing him to run Cosmo. I mean, I think that's going to be really interesting to watch.
yeah, and oh by the way, there's no Shang-Chi's anywhere. God bless these
Yep.
dude, no B-hand players running Shang-Chi ruining my day. Oh,
I
holy.
don't have to play against random Shang and Tribunal. I don't have to play against random Shang. There's no Erisham. That's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, but on the Zoran V2, it is noticeably weaker in power output. So, like, against certain decks, I just won't be allowed to bring it unless Jug ruins their day, unless Enchantress ruins their day that much to justify running it. I mean, I think I'm the only deck that's allowed to run Enchantress because it double dips, right? Not only does it tech, but it makes my cards playable, right?
Hmm.
The idea with the first list is you're playing your cards no matter what the downside is. Like you're playing Starbrand out with the negative, you're playing Typhoid out with the negative, you're playing Red Skull out with the negative, because the whole goal is to get a discounted Scar. And Scar Alliath is a really powerful line. On the second list, you're just trying to tech out, right? You have your big cards, and you just try to ruin the other person's day.
Yeah, I think you mentioning that you were running Enchantress because it helps you is interesting as well. Because these players have basically gotten these lists down to such a tight group of cards that there really isn't space for an Enchantress or a Shang. Like you won't see Guapo running any tech at all. You won't see me running any tech at all except for the designated slot. Most of these players have 10 set cards and then sometimes they switch the other two, which I think being able to watch the decks that people have played for at least 8 months, pretty much everyone has played these decks for like a year, if they've been out for a year. I think it's going to be very, very exciting, and I'm very, very excited to watch it.
Yeah. Also, my core I think has suffered the most recently. Like I think of all the decks to have been touched, like Stardust isn't out yet, so you're not suffering yet. But my core is just dead because they really had to. Because I had a bunch of interesting Sauron lists, right? Now building a Sauron is like 6 cards plus 6, so it allows me just to like figure out what tech I need to run. Because half the games I have to retreat anyway because my draw order is just so bad.
Yeah, you've got a funny little 1/1 guy over there. How you feel about that?
It doesn't matter. Like that one guy there is just so like the in the first list, the one guy is a lot better. But at the end of the
Zabu.
day, if you can play like a 10+10 on the last turn, you're happy, right? So he makes that possible a lot more of the time. Or a 10+tech.
Yeah. So Xenaid, I do have a little bit of bad news for you. There is one Shang-Chi in the format.
Oh, there
And
is.
I hope I lose before I
And
go
it's
face
in
them.
our next cover deck, Black Knight. So there is
Oh, I
two
forgot.
different Black Knight decks. They really only vary on the tech. One of them is running Shadow King Red Guardian. The other is running Juggernaut Shang-Chi. The other cards are the same. Black Knight has not been really a featured, like a pillar, or even like a deck above B tier in the metagame for over a year now. And yet Tommy has been consistently playing it. What do we think about Black Knight here? A lot less Shadow Kings in the format than I think were expected. So I think might be a little bit underrated.
I can't say this is my pick to win because I have to be my pick to win. But if I wasn't in the tournament, this would be my pick to win, by the way. I think the Invisible Woman is going to carry this guy. The Black Knight on its own is already pretty good. You've got the Hulkling in both lists for the variation where you can get cheese cubes. Valentina does the same thing because 6 drops are cheesy as hell. 2 Merlins. Like, the cards he's running are really good. The thing I would be worried about is I'm not sure if the Red Guardian Shadow King list is going to be able to handle Surfer. So if Tommy cues into Surfer at any point, I think he's going to have a really bad time. But also, I am pretty sure he's on the opposite side of the bracket. Let me double check real quick. Tommy is on the opposite side of the
Yeah, Tommy
bracket.
is on the opposite side.
So he won't queue into it until finals. So, I mean, I think this deck is going to do really well, especially if Hart throws and it doesn't have his head in it. But we'll see how that goes. This is a
Yeah,
this is something to keep your eye on. This one.
I mean, okay, like it is a Shang-Chi deck, like Smlz was trying to warn me about, but it's a Shang-Chi deck without any discounts, so I'm not that scared of the Shang-Chi. I think what makes Shang-Chi more unbearable is like having a bunch of cheaper cards to play with. But unless he's getting Merlin into the future onto the last turn, it's gonna be hard for him to make an effective play alongside a Shang-Chi. And
Um,
of my two lists, like neither of them are that weak to Shang.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. He's got Valentino, which is giving him a 3 drop, and I mean he can hide
Yeah,
the
but
Invisible
unless he's
Woman
getting
as
ramp, he's
well.
not getting a 3+7, a 3+4.
Yeah,
He has
he's
no ramp and he
also
has no other discount.
he could also that's true. He doesn't have a way to discount the Shang, which is something to look at. But also, I mean, he does have Marlin, so there is a way to play multiple cards.
Yeah, which is the line I mentioned, but it's very telegraphed. Like it's just playing against him. You just have to be alert if you're a dice to Shang deck. Like you're a dice to Shang deck. Sometimes move is a dice to Shang deck. Once the vulture gets big enough. Um, I don't like his tech in the first deck though. I don't think Shadow King, Red Guardian are good enough in this, like even against the field here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious
I think
what
they would.
he's scared of where he needs Red Guardian.
Also, like Shadow King is just like really bad for him too, right? Unless he's just Shadow King in the Valentina card, but that doesn't really do anything. Like
Yeah.
Shadow King, like is a deficit against him.
You play
Dude,
it
if someone's running
for
Gorgon, I think he'd be dead. But none of us have enough room in our decks.
nobody could run Gorgon. That's not a concern.
Yeah, I mean, if
I
Gorgon
don't know
wasn't an
about that.
ongoing, I
There
would
is
consider
one
it.
Gorgon in the field.
Yeah, but they're not going to play it against black.
They're not going to play on. They're going to be playing on Sunday, which we will get to now. So we have one player that's going to be playing on Saturday, and one player that's going to be playing only on Sunday. So based on some time conflicts, we have one player that can only make Saturday and one player that can only make Sunday, and these are the two players. First up, we're going to be covering the player that can make Saturday's tournament, Duplicus, and Duplicus is playing Moon Girl. The first list and the second list are pretty similar. It's just the middle of the deck is a little bit different. The first list is running Makari, running Copycat and Gladiator, and the second list is running Cosmo and Mobius. So there is one Mobius in the field. Something that I find very interesting though in this field though, just like a quick aside, is that there is more Hulkling decks, which is 3 total, than there are Shang and Enchantress combined. I think that's very interesting, but on to Moon Girl.
Yeah, I am terrified of this. I do not want to play against this at all. We've got Mobius, which, I mean, Xenaid will give comments on that. Copycat, which is the reason I didn't want to run Gore. He's got Moon Girl for information asymmetry, as well as Gwenpool, which also does that. Maximus is just a pain in the butt to play against. I mean, this is it's just a strong deck. This looks really strong. It dies to Mobius, but guess what? He's got the only Mobius. I am very, very confused why we split the Cosmo from the Gladiator Copycat. He might not have had space. I think the Cosmo's in the wrong deck. I would have put the Cosmo in the one on the left and then swapped. What's the other text slot? It is.
Gladiator.
Is it only 2? It's Gladiator Copycat.
Yeah, there's only 2 cards different. He ran 10 same.
Yeah, I would have snuck a Cosmo into that left list. I don't know where you put it, but I don't think Gladiators. I mean, obviously, Duplicus knows better than I do, and I'm sure with Mr. Fantastic it's stupid when you Moon Girl a Gladiator. But putting the Gladiator in the Copycat list, it just feels like all the things you're trying to copycat, you don't want to Gladiator them. Because, like, you lose the copycat information because they might draw it anyways. I guess if he holds the Gladiator until the last turn, I am excited to see this one played, very much, for sure.
All I know is Copycat and Gladiator together are both bad against me. Like against Sauron, you cannot play Copycat Gladiator.
But look at the other list.
But the other list is fucking Mobius, man. Like, like.
Yep.
Okay, my bad. I guess I'll try to play Scar. Oh wait, I can't.
I'm gonna give Duplicus credit because I think he did build it. This is really well made. My only concern is I think the Cosmo was misplaced. Other than that, I think this is one of the best positioned decks for what he's playing against.
The thing is, like, even the decks with Jug in it, for example, and like it's so easy for him to play around Negasonic, right? So there's no effective tech against his list except for freaking like there's none. There's none.
Mobius.
There's no effective tech. Like it would be
Mobius.
Mobius, but he's the only one running it.
Yeah, there's a Gorgon, but he can't queue into the Gorgon because the Gorgon can only play on Sunday.
Oh,
So
So,
yeah, he's
yeah,
got
like-
nothing.
he's got nothing to worry about. He just gets executed. So a lot of this tournament's gonna be like, can we recognize our opponent's bad hands and can we snap it? So I think we're gonna see a lot of high cube games. Like people might be afraid at first, but I think like against like if you let Duplessis like limp into a game, like you're just screwed.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm not letting anyone limp into these games as if I was like snapping every turn anyway. But you know, like
the people who are really passive snappers are going to be punished really hard in this tournament. Which, to be honest, I only think there's 2 or 3 people that'll have to adapt to that because most of us are maniacs. Like, have you seen Guapo snaps? Guapo snaps on 2 because he has like
Beast
Grandmaster in his
Toxin,
hand.
yeah, he has Beast
Yeah,
Grandmaster in hand. He snaps,
he snaps. He doesn't even
bro.
care if he has anything to do with it. He
But
has
his
it,
snaps
so
are
he's
so
snapping.
scary, like, because
Yeah,
like he'll find a line.
there's a line somewhere. Like I snap really aggressively. Xenaid snaps really. There's so many active aggressive snappers. I think the snap patterns are another thing to pay attention to for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will spend a bit of time feeling out our opponents because I think no one wants it to be like a one turn, like a 1 round match.
Absolutely not. I will not be doing that. If I
But
get a
like,
if I get a good hand, I'm snapping on 1. I don't care. I'm going for 8.
but
I
I
want
think
to
like,
end the game immediately. I do not need to play anymore.
yeah, I think I'm on opposite side of bracket from you, right, Denish?
Yep.
But I know your snap patterns a lot because we play on stream together a
hmm
lot over Discord. So like, yeah, we'll figure this out.
Yeah, and I mean, what's nice is even though we know each other's snap patterns, there's still built-in like mix-ups. I play against a player that plays move bounce. He's pretty good at it. He played top 16 in Golden Gauntlet called Kingpin, and Kingpin knows my snap patterns. And so what I've started doing is snapping when I don't have the snap pattern, and then he still has to respect it and leave. And so it's things like that that you'll see, oh, I'm snapping on basically nothing just because I see that you also have nothing, and my nothing can beat your nothing. And it's games like that that'll be the almost the character of the tournament because these players play against each other so much. A
Yeah,
lot
I
of them.
mean, the other thing is like this is the only tournament you'll ever see me get roped into probably for a while, because I'm a ladder warrior. I just don't like exposing my snap patterns like to be fully visible to everyone. Because like
Yeah.
on ladder, I snap on some BS, and like you guys like don't see it when I'm like streaming and such, but like when I'm climbing, like I have very intentional snaps. And I just feel like if I expose myself, people will start retreating against me more. And I feel like I finally conditioned ladder just to play 8 cubers against me. So like I don't want to lose that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the snapping is something that we definitely want to pay attention to in this tournament. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be, if you want to learn one of these decks, I think it's going to be by far the most informational resource out there, seeing the best players play these decks at the highest level in the list they're running. I think it's going to be very interesting, and I think that maybe we'll find a few new archetype players throughout by that have been inspired by watching this tournament. Anyways, for our last deck, it is Cerebro 3. So, this is the only Sunday deck,
Ooh.
which I know Duplicus is probably very happy about, as I think this is by far his worst matchup with both decks running Mobius and one of them running Gorgon. The deck on the left is the traditional Cerebro 3 that you see a lot on ladder. It's been featured by multiple YouTubers. The second one is a little bit different. It's got Shadow King. It's got Daredevil. I think it's a little bit more unique than the first list, and it's good against some stuff that you might not be able to reasonably predict. But I'm very curious to hear your thoughts because I think the second deck is extremely interesting, although I don't know if he's going to play it.
He's
Second
playing it
list.
against me.
Yeah,
If he matches against me, he's playing that second deck.
he's playing that second deck against a lot of people, to be honest. He's got that second deck against Kyle, I think. Against well, I guess yeah, against Tribunal for sure. He's got that second list. There's a lot of probably me because of the Negasonic, if you can recognize that. There's I think that second list will see a lot of play, to be honest. Especially with
No,
the
it's like Cerebro's bad into the field against our decks. Like it's
yeah.
pretty bad into the field. Um, so like he has to make some very like active decisions. Like if you don't know Jawala, he's ranked like 3 or 2 on ladder right now, playing actively Cerebro only. I think closer to the start of season, maybe like a week ago or so, I was farming him for 8 cubers until he finally realized like you can't play Cerebro against Sauron players who know what they're doing. And like he's been trying to figure out ways to beat Sauron. This is the closest I see him getting, but I have his full deck list. It's over for him. Like
Yeah, especially since I believe you have the Negasonic in your do you have Negasonic in your second Sauron
No, I
deck?
mean I have Jug Enchantress in my second
Oh,
one.
Enchantress, yes.
Yep, Jug Enchantress. He's not gonna have fun.
Yep. It'll be
And the
tricky.
thing is, like, we'll see snapping mechanics happen. Like, um, the last like 20 games again on ladder against him, he's been retreating turn one. Cerebro's very easy to snap against. Like you have to force them, right? What you'll notice is the second list does not have Luke Cage, so it's really bad for him actually.
Yeah,
Um, I think
locations
the
should
Shadow King
fuck
is a
him up.
mistake. Yeah, the locations are actually gonna mess him up really bad in the second one. There's no Luke Cage. Like random BS will happen. It's gonna be kind of rough, honestly. I think the Shadow King's a big mistake on the
Mhm.
second list.
For sure. And I mean, I think the list does really well into Tribunal until you realize Tribunal is playing like 40 power in 3 lanes. And then you realize, oh, it actually just can't outscale it.
Yeah, but the problem of him running double magic lists, the problem with that also though is Scarlet Witch can only serve one purpose, right? It's either gonna hit the magic or it's gonna turn off an unfavorable location. So Jawal is gonna have to snap really well in order to make it out of a conquest match against any of us. Because I
Yep.
think all of us actively in our heads have been playing against Cerebro so much on ladder that we're gonna try to bully the heck out of him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm Legion scamming the shit out of him. I don't care. you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna Legion, I'm gonna Legion Isle of Silence, and he's gonna have to hold that.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play Sauron turn one and snap as if Red Skull's already in my hand, and it's gonna be a turned off Red Skull, and he's gonna have to play around it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Cerebro is probably a little bit weak in conquest setting just because if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. That's sort of, do they have tech for you? Do they just go over you? There's a lot of ways it can go wrong. I think it's a significantly better ladder deck than it is a conquest deck, but I'm excited to see how Cerebro can survive here. And now we're gonna end it with a bracket reveal. So we've been talking about it throughout. In the winners bracket, the first match of round one is Heart of the Cards against Duplicus. So I'm just gonna ask, who do we think is going to win, Surfer or Moon Girl?
Oh, geez. What do you think,
They
Xenaid?
both just gonna do whatever the heck they want, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just gonna. It's just like depending on like how big does Kyle get the hits on the brood or the torch. Like if you can just go big enough in a lane, like there's only limited board space, right? The max power that Duplessis can put in the lane is, I believe,
It's around 25.
yeah, around 25, and I think Surfer definitely gets taller than that in 2 lanes. So as long as Kyle's locked in and his Fantastics
Oh,
hitting buffs instead of discounts.
it's higher than 25 actually. I'm looking at it now. It's like 30. It's low 30s. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
still.
what's it called? The other thing is Kyle's probably gonna bring Kyle's probably gonna bring the U.S. agent list against it because it just guts half of his deck, right?
Yes.
The
Yep.
She-Hulks, the Mockingbirds, like it's gonna be
And
kind of tough.
I can see Duplicus bringing Copycat as well against Kyle because there's a lot of really good Copycat hits.
Oh
But
yeah, copycatting the Brood, copy. Yeah, yeah, the Glad deck is insane against Kyle. Actually,
yeah, yep. So
well,
I
we'll
I
just
think
see.
I'll
I
give
think
this to
Glad kills
Kyle.
everything in Kyle's deck, right?
I'm gonna give this one to Kyle. I think that's my call.
I think I'll give it to Kyle too. I think he's good enough at playing around copycat, and I think he's bringing the U.S. agent list with Negasonic against this one.
What do you think, Smlz?
Surfer's my pick to win, so
Yeah, you
I'm
think?
picking Kyle. I think it's gonna be really close. I think this is maybe arguably his worst matchup, but I think that Surfer is just a little bit too good. It scales too much too early. The information asymmetry, where's the power going to go? I think this is going to be a really, really good game, but I think that Surfer's going to prevail something like 3-0, or someone's going to get an 8 cuber early, and that's going to be it. Next up,
Also,
we have next one. Yeah?
also, sorry, just overall looking at the bracket. This was randomly generated. If we look at this top half of this bracket, it's kind of cracked. The bottom half's good too, but if you're looking at what the top half is, it's the Hela deck, the Move deck, the Moon Girl deck, and the Surfer deck. Those are like the only one I didn't list that people are generally terrified of is Tribunal. And so It's just the fear. It's just the fear mongering half of the bracket. It's crazy. It's crazy that that happened. But yeah, we can move
Yeah.
on to
All right.
the next match.
Next one. Denish is playing this match, so me and Xenaid will give the insights on it. It is Sizer versus Denish. This is a really tricky one for me. I think that it's really just going to depend on how Move draws. I think that the Gore is going to be weak against Move. It's not a great matchup, but then you think about the Super Giant and what that does to the deck. I honestly think this is a coin flip, but I'm going to lean Hela just because of the Super Giant. I think the Super Giant cripples the Move deck, whereas the Cosmo can stop the Hela deck, but it's not as good as stopping the Hela deck as Super Giant is at stopping the Move deck.
Yeah, Sizer is giga dead to Sugi. I mean, the two lines that Sizer is dead to is freaking Gambit on 3 and Corvus into Sugi. Because there's nothing he can do about it. Like, I don't think the move deck stands a chance. Just because there's not that much interaction built into the move deck until turn 6. Except this turn 5 setup is just completely nullified. Honestly, if you bring the non-Sugi list, I'd be very surprised.
Alrighty. Now, Xenaid is playing in this next match, so me and Denish will commentate. The next match is Xenaid versus Hela Enjoyer. And I think this is probably, arguably, Hela Enjoyer's worst matchup against the one deck with Enchantress in the entire field, forcing him to run the Cosmo deck against the deck that goes big. I've got Sauron here. I think Tribunal could beat any other matchup except this one. This one I just think is a little bit unwinnable, and it's a bad draw.
I think it's crazy that this bracket worked out like this because there's so many weirdly specific bad matchups that happened in the first round. So this loser bracket is going to be dirty. I agree. I think Xenaid takes this. I also think Hella Enjoyer is a really good player, but also he's returning to the game, and I don't think he's played against enough Sauron to recognize the cheese. And I mean, Xenaid is the master cheeser. If you can, if you're going to have somebody cheese you, Zenit is going to do it. Like if you're cheesable, it's gonna happen. And I can see some Enchantress bullshit happening. I can see some Juggernaut bullshit happening. Just going tall in general. There's a lot of really bad things that are on the line here for Hella Enjoyer. I'd give this one to Zenate as well.
All right. And now we can all talk about this final match. It is Doc Guapo versus Tommy. It is Bounce versus Black Knight. Personally, I think I've got Black Knight. I think that Juggernaut against Guapo Bounce can be devastating if you know how to use it correctly when you're juggernauting on 5 instead of on 6. I think that as long as Tommy can recognize that and play his jug deck well, I think he's got a little bit too much points that Guapo can't interact with. And if he uses his jug correctly, I think Tommy can take this.
Yeah, what's interesting is
I have
Tommy's
too much
got
respect for Dewar.
yeah, Tommy's got his he's got his Juggernaut separate from his Shadow King. And so if he wants to tech, he has to use the Shang in the Juggernaut list. Shanging against Bounce is really hard, especially after you Juggernaut them. So he isn't really going to be able to rely on just pure tech. He is going to have to use power as well. I think I'd give the slight edge to Tommy, to be honest. But I think this is going to be the closest matchup in the first round.
I have too much respect for Doc. I think I like of the people who snap against me on ladder. I actually consider retreating when Doc snaps me, and like I'm just like I don't want to think about it. Um, I think if he brings the Frigolis, Doc is really good against playing around Jug. Like I think there's no Cosmo, right? Tommy's not running Cosmo.
Let me double check real quick.
Tommy does
Tommy
not have a
is
Cosmo. His
No,
tech is
I
no.
don't think Jug is gonna do enough in the matchup. I think I'm giving it to Doc here.
There's our split
all
decision.
right.
We got three blowouts and a split
Split
decision.
decision.
All right, let's
All
see if
right.
that's what happens.
So let's see if that's what happens. Remember, you can tune in at 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday and 4 p.m. Eastern on Sunday at Husky Puppy's Twitch channel, Rurum Plays Twitch channel, Cougar's Twitch channel, and Perry Manilow's Twitch channel. Thank you for watching. As always, this has been the A-Cube Circus crew. You can find Denish at twitch.tv/Denish_Hela. You can find Xenaid at twitch.tv/XenaidTFT. And you can find me at youtube.com/SnapAcademyYT. Just a reminder, though, if you want to watch the tournament, this is where to go. Husky Puppies 35, Roran Plays, Cougar, Perry Manilow. That's about it for us. And we encourage you to watch the Invitational on one of those Twitch streams. We've been working very hard behind the scenes on it for over a month, and we'd like to thank you for watching and listening to our podcast.